Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Halloween Cthulhu Spooktacular. Tonight I will be joined by Noctis Silence and by Bacon and by Sycorax. Other players may or may not come in as the night goes on. We shall see. The advantage of this setting is I can pretty much drop people in or out whenever I want to. So, hopefully you guys have come up with some character ideas to work with in, the space of the last 20 minutes. And our setting is going to be you have all been invited to the estate of one Richard Eddingston. He is a philanthropist and patron of the arts who you have all been familiar with for some years in various forms and dealings. While it is not his normal custom to ring in the new year with a party or festivities of any kind, you received a missive from him asking you to meet him at his estate on the 1st of January. See what day that was. Which is a Saturday. And due to a unusual discovery is how he put it in the missive. So to see what order we're going to start with everyone in, roll me, and I know this is not a customary way to roll in chill, but it's, in Cthulhu, but for this roll it'll be fine. Roll me a D%, add your luck to it, and tell me what your total is. And whoever gets the highest total will be the order of operations for being introduced to the party. Hint, it's likely going to be Sycorax. Oh, maybe not. Just edging out with the lead is Noctis. Sycorax, I think you may be muted. Or you may be muted now.
No, it should be
No,
fine.
Oh, there
now.
you go. Good.
Okay.
Good. All
I just
right.
muted myself in case the fire alarm rang when I opened the oven.
No worries. All right. So, first to arrive at the old Eddingston estate is going to be Professor Jacob Anderson. He looks like this. All right, Mr. Anderson. How do you get there? What do you how are you dressed, and what do you do?
Let's see. Well, what was the invitation? Was it?
Uh It was addressed from Richard Eddingston, cordially inviting you to his house Saturday, January 1st, to review a interesting discovery he has recently made during travels.
Okay, so probably would be in a suit
Okay.
of. Yeah, it might be a little bit shabby, but that's what I got. um, let's see, and this is where? Which side of London?
Let me see. Hold on a second.
Or which area of London?
Not specifically in London, but it is actually in just in England proper. And we are going to say specifically it's going to be in Lincolnshire, which is north, but not so far north as to be Scotland.
Well, in that case, I would have probably had to have taken a train up from London.
Mm-hmm.
So probably catch, or either would have had to catch a cab or a hansom or something.
There will be there is a coach waiting for you at the station that brings you to the Eddingstons.
Okay, so take a train there, get in a hansom, go to the estate.
Okay.
Probably have a small suitcase with change of clothes just in case, and some papers and that kind of stuff.
Nice. And second is going to be David Graham. And what do you do, sir?
It's really a fancy house and probably some good. Yeah, so I try to dress appropriately.
Okay. I'm gonna move this.
My best coat. I probably need to arrive by train as well. That's
all right. So I'm gonna say that also. Bacon, would Virgil Robinson live in the area, or would he also be coming in by train?
No, I think he'd be coming in by train.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to say that the coach picks you all up around the same time. Okay. So you will have a bit of a ride for the three of you to get to the city. You likely two of you came in on the same train. One was on a different one, which required a little bit of a wait. However, like you didn't know each other enough to like speak to each other before meeting with Jeffrey, who is the driver for Mr. Eddingston and his manservant. So you both recognize Jeffrey's. You approach him and whatever gentlemen are standing around him at whatever time. And then the three of you are all prepared to go and take the hansom from the train up to the Eddingston estate. So we'll give you guys a couple minutes to role play talking to each other while you are en route. And also giving any physical descriptions of your characters that you should so decide to do.
nice to meet you. So I'd like to shake your hand. I'm David Graham. I teach foreign language at the University of University. And specifically, I teach French. I've been teaching our good host, Richard Easton, and help him translate some of his findings when they come through the frog-eating source.
Interesting. I'm also a lecturer. I actually lecture at University College London. I'm Jacob Anderson. Nice to meet you.
Jacob. Nice to meet you, Jacob.
I actually do a little bit of lecturing there in ancient history and civilizations, and actually most of my research is focused on ancient the area of ancient Arabia. Recently, they've started discovering some cities in some of the areas along the Tigris. And a lot of my postgraduate work was involved in some of the new digs down there. It's quite exciting.
Fascinating.
Sorry. Wow, that sucked.
We haven't even started yet.
Yeah, I know. That's pretty bad. I
And you, sir?
am. I am Dr. Virgil Robinson. I am a medical doctor, as opposed to an archaeologist. He's Oh, Deuce, can you put the? Yeah, you have it on the right there.
Wait, what? Who?
My guy.
Yep.
You've got the
Portrait.
photo on the corner there, or at least in the
Mhm.
in the stream. Okay, there we
Yeah.
go.
It is on each of your character sheets, and
Yeah.
also on the table.
Yeah. He's actually got the bag because he's a doctor, because that's what he does. I've worked with Mr. Eddingston once or twice. I'm not as much of an explorer as others might be. I'm very busy with my work at the hospital. I'm not quite certain why he invited me to this, as this is a little outside of my normal milieu, but he is a friend, and you don't refuse an invitation from a friend, so...
More importantly, for all three of you, Richard Eddingston has been a patron in the past. He is ridiculously wealthy.
Yeah. Excuse me.
So, your characters all, discuss various overlaps of your fields and lack thereof on the trip to the Eddingston Estates. It's probably about 30, 45 minutes. As you arrive at the estate, it is, as always in the few times that you've been here, well-maintained, well-kept, quiet country manor, a good distance from any form of any form of noise or distraction of the city. And as the coach pulls up to the door, you see the doorman for the estate walks down to the coach to grab your bags, as Jeffrey opens the door to the coach to allow you to proceed into the house. It is a old style country manor house, 3 stories, although you've never really been off of the first one. There is a conservatory in the back. Most of your time that you've been here has either been spent in the main hall, in the conservatory, in the dining room, or in Richard Eddingston's study, where he has a ridiculous number of books. He has informed you that he also has a personal library on the premises, but none of you have ever actually been into it before. So you all come into the house. It is a drab affair, and the building itself is incredibly quiet. There's very little to be heard, aside from the footfalls of the few waitstaff who are on the premises. You are all escorted into the into a drawing room, and after about 15 minutes, okay. So, the fourth picture will be of our illustrious host, Richard Eddington. After you are in the drawing room for a few minutes, he approaches, and he seems surprisingly excited to see you. You know him too well. He is a great patron of the arts. He is normally very dour, very sullen, very emotionally quiet. This is one of the few times you have ever seen him smiling. And as he walks in a very excited manner, he greets each of you. Thank you very much for coming. I have the most unexpected find to show you. And as you are all illustrious academics, and some of my most highly prized patronages, I thought that this would be something that I should share with you first, before this is allowed to be seen any further than within the house. But I forget my manners. How was your journeys? Was everything in accordance? Are you well settled in the house? I know Jeremy has prepared rooms upstairs for you should you need them.
Everything's perfect, Richard.
Oh,
And
good.
you have me quite intrigued with your find.
Yes. Well, it is. I have a colleague who has been involved in some of the more recent digs, both in the Indus and in lower Mesopotamia, and he has forwarded to me a number of small oddities that were collected. One of them in particular was an amulet, medallion, necklace, that doesn't appear at first to have any unique properties, but when cast in just the right light, it operates in a peculiar manner.
You say operates?
Yes. Well, let us just retire to retire to my study. We can each have a brandy, and I can show you what I mean. I already have everything set up there, and I think that this would be easier to demonstrate, perhaps, than to explain out of turn.
Lead on.
And so you all get up, you leave from the drawing room and head into Richard Eddington's study. He pours you each a brandy and then goes about showing you a necklace. It is a very old, very worn, antique gold chain. And suspended on the chain is a faceted stone that, unless someone has a skill that I don't think that any of you do, you don't recognize what type of stone it is. It's not opal, it's not diamond, it's not any heavily tinted stone. It has like a little bit of like almost like a moonstone opalescence to it, except that the stone itself is much more translucent. And he hands the amulet to each of you to inspect if you have anything that you wish to try to do with the device.
Oh yes.
Such a fascinating object. What kind of stone is this?
He's not sure, and that's why he thought that it might be exceptionally valuable and had it returned to me immediately.
How heavy is the object?
It weighs probably about a quarter pound. It's not terribly heavy. It has approximately... The gold chain has the right weight. The stone feels slightly heavier than one would expect, which may mean that it has some heavier minerals, perhaps some lead or something else in the crystal, which is what's causing the odd refraction. But it doesn't appear to be exorbitantly heavy. It's not so out of the realm that it seems specifically peculiar that it has the weight that it does.
Anything written on it?
No.
Does it? Or so I would be flipping around in the hand looking at it and it's like, which dig site did you say you got this at?
It is from a colleague of mine who is currently on a dig a short distance north of Eridu.
Ah. And I take it this is a manufacturer that I haven't seen or even seen anything related to in my
No.
work in the area?
No.
This is definitely different than what I've seen out of that area. Very interesting. I'll hand it back. And, wouldn't mind if I take an etching of it, would you? Just have something to refer to?
No, please, go ahead. And he hands it to Virgil to look at for the moment. Thomas, how you doing, man?
Hey, Thomas.
I haven't seen you in a bit. How you feeling? We're playing Cthulhu. I'm going to murder people.
You're going to drive us nuts first.
Probably. At least one of you.
Oh, yeah. I'm already done it now.
So Jacob Anderson begins sketching the medallion while Virgil Robinson takes a closer investigation of it.
Let's see. Okay, so this mineral, is it just the mineral on the chain, or is there something around the mineral?
The setting, it is faceted on both the front and back, and the setting is orbital around the edge of the stone. The entire setting is also the same antiqued, aged, burnished gold material. And then that has a bit of a loop on the top, and then that connects to the chain itself.
What I'll do is I'll go into the bag,
Mhm.
and I'll pull out. I'm sorry, I don't know what it's called, but basically it's a measuring tool that has the fork on it.
Okay, calipers,
Calipers.
measuring
Yeah,
calipers. Yeah.
I don't know if this will help, but I'll, actually take measurements. The exterior setting is such and such centimeters. The depth of the mineral itself seems to be such and such millimeters,
Perfect.
and so forth.
Okay. So after you finish noting your findings, he takes it back and he walks over towards a window, and he holds it in front of the window. You can see the moon perfectly shines through the windows on this side of the house. So you can see the light refracting through the crystal. It is a strong refraction, but it does not have any remarkable properties. He then
And
walks.
there was a specific angle.
That he was holding it at? No, he's just holding it and turning it a little bit and showing you from a couple different angles at the moment. Just basically showing you the way it interacts with the light.
Is there?
Go ahead.
Is there? Does it show a? Is it only in the mineral, or does it actually? Mind you, it's only moonlight.
Right.
But would it be? Does it actually project?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't illuminate beyond just the stone
So
itself.
it's strictly in the mineral itself.
Right. He holds it, shows you around. He takes it over to a oil lamp on the desk and holds it in front of that. And you can see that it does refract a little bit differently, likely due to the hue of the gas flame as opposed to the light of the moon.
Think all had the technology or the craftsmanship to make something like this in this ancient time. It's just remarkable.
It is. And more importantly, there's this. And he takes a fire poker with, a fork on it. And he hooks it on the edge of the fork so that he can rest the fire poker in the frame of the window. And the medallion is then hanging straight down, again, perfectly facing in and out, catching the moonlight. And he takes a side table and he puts it a few feet away from the window and takes a swiveling vanity mirror, puts it on the table on the opposite side of the crystal, and spends a minute or two angling the moonlight that's passing through the crystal back at the crystal again. And it takes him a minute or two to get the mirror lined up properly. But when the light passing through the crystal bounces back and hits the crystal again from the other side, you suddenly see a brilliant illumination from the crystal, actually stronger than the gas lighting on in the room itself or the oil lamp that is on the table. It is literally the brightest thing in the room.
That's unusual.
Well, that's different.
It should be impossible, right? I mean, the refraction of light through an object cannot possibly refract more light with a following refraction. It should be a diminutive process.
Yeah.
That just violate most of the energy conservation law.
Exactly. And that was why I thought that this was something important that we could examine. Everyone give me a spot hidden roll while you're looking at the crystal.
Hmm.
That's a big fail.
Big fail.
Not hidden, huh?
Mhm.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, when you fail to spot the thing that's
Yeah.
it's going to make you insane, then you don't get insane.
It's true. This is one of the
Yeah.
weird
I
game
actually
systems.
did it.
This is one of the weirdest game systems and always has been. Sandy Peterson did a great job. You almost want average stats for everything because there are times you desperately want to pass, but there are times you desperately want to fail. Literally every roll you can make in this game. So the best thing to aim for is like a 55 to a 60 across the board for everything.
Yeah, what's the ad for spot hidden?
It'll be just the skill level that you currently have that you're trying to
Yeah,
roll under.
I actually hit the spot hidden. Mine's 25, rolled an 11, so I'm probably in trouble.
I'm not entirely sure where that would be on the character sheet.
Then I forgot to give it to you.
Okay.
It's again one that everybody should have, so let me just drag it onto your character sheet there. There you go.
Okay, so it'd be that plus 25.
What you want to do is, yours is actually going to be a 20 because I believe that's the base. What you want to do is you want to try to roll a D% and roll under your skill number. And if you can manage to roll under half, it is better. And if you can roll under a fifth, it is better.
And that should...
Conversely, if you roll more than twice your skill or more than 3 times your skill,
Yes.
it's worse and worse.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll do that.
That, for
That's
example, is a
nothing.
terrible roll. Okay.
Even worse than mine.
So, the only person that sees this is Virgil Robinson, and he sees that aside from the unusual property of the crystal illuminating itself, you all notice that the light coming off the crystal, while illuminating, so it is predominantly a white light, it does have a little bit of a hue to it. The problem is that none of you can decide what color that hue is. Like, at first you think it might be a warm tone, perhaps a blue, and then you focus on that thought and you realize it's not. So perhaps it's a moderate tone like a purple, but it definitely isn't. And it could be maybe a warm tone like a yellow or a green.
Here
But
comes the Octarine.
yeah, it's just not, it's not specifically aligning to anything you've ever seen before. And in the midst of realizing this, Virgil Robinson sees in the crystal itself, there's something dark, a shadow almost, moving within the facets of the crystal. Possibly it's just, again, a trick of the odd refraction going on. It's impossible to know for sure what anything is at the moment. But the way the crystal is refracting the light, and you see something in the crystal, something moving, something swaying or waving, you begin to sense what you specifically would consider impossible. as you begin to sense something otherworldly, and for Ari specifically, something perhaps unknown to you. And somewhere in your core, you feel a disturbance because of this. And please lower your sanity by 1.
There's a shock.
Ari, the word unknown was definitely capitalized because you know the difference.
There we go. Right, so going slightly bibbledy there, and he turns his head away from it and is doing one of these.
You all right there, Virgil?
I think I just stared into the fire too long. But I have to think it's just a trick of the refraction in the mineral. But there's...
At which point, your illustrious host, Richard Anningston, looks at you dead in the face and goes, "So, you've seen it too then? And it wasn't just me."
Seen.
What I saw should not be possible.
Agreed. Makes this quite a grand discovery, does it not?
Keeping in mind, my field is medicine. I'm not a physical scientist.
Of course.
But I'm fairly certain that anyone working at the Institute would have an absolute field day trying to figure out what the heck this is.
Isn't it peculiar? The way the light amplifies within it, but also there, right there. There is something. Something concealed within the stone. It makes little sense.
It makes no sense because it was moving. And there cannot be anything moving inside a crystalline structure like this, at least as far as I know, unless it's hollow. And even then, we'd be able to check that. But the refraction properties of this do not lend to that hypothesis.
Imagine if, and again, this is far-fetched on our part, but imagine if this is some previously unknown manifestation, perhaps of quartz, that allows for refraction hundreds of times greater than the light which passes through it. Imagine what that could mean for a city like London, a city like Cardiff, a city trying to light itself with gaslight. And the largest problem that gaslight has is focusing and illuminating outside of its protective shields. The shields, once they become smoked, destroy the light rather than spread it. Imagine if something could be found that naturally could multiply that light. The industrial applications alone are nearly limitless.
Assuming we could find someplace that the stone is or could be quarried, yeah, it does sound like a wonderful business proposition.
Well, if one exists, it can't exist in a vacuum. It must have occurred from somewhere.
I'll agree with you.
I mean,
Perhaps there is some text or something. The people created this must have documented their work somehow. Like somebody who is advanced enough to choose it, or be literate and have written about it.
and that's the thing. There has been nothing discovered. We have a number of a number of tablets that have been recovered, and nothing mentions anything out of the ordinary. I mean, it is so far most of the items in the dig itself have maintained commonality, which for archaeology is very important. It's just, establishing a statistical base, but you would think that something this peculiar and arguably in a numerous enough quantity that one could be found so much later. It seems remarkable that there's no record of it, no recordings.
It's a shame. It's also fascinating, I agree.
If it could be harnessed, but
What does this thing is made of? Can we even reproduce such a thing?
well, no, this was. Hmm. In looking at the setting again,
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing on it at all.
The setting around the outside at first appears to be a simple gold band.
Right.
However, upon further investigation, you can tell that is mostly because it is just worn and weathered. There is
Sure.
either some like roping done onto the gold, or else there is an inscription of some kind. But in either way, it's almost impossible to make out any details on it whatsoever, as the detail has been completely worn away with time. Gold is notoriously useless at maintaining impressions over
Yeah.
time.
I have. I'm entirely out of my depth here.
Well, if it... I mean, if none of the tablets record anything of such, is it possible it could have been put there after the fact? Not necessarily by modern, or by modern explorers, or could have found its way there in any of the intervening 5,000 years?
And that was a thought that I had, but even still, where could it have come from? It is a stone wholly unknown. It had to originate somewhere. It is a compound that is the idea that a compound in nature could exist in a completely unique environment, such as to only have existed once, and that one be discovered and then carved and set, seems preposterous, bordering on the ludicrous.
Well, the world is full of wondrous things.
And one of those wondrous things, I have not yet experimented with. I've just recently received the materials. And I would actually need your assistance to establish perhaps the best place to do this. How familiar are the three of you with electricity? It is the newest of sciences.
I've heard of a couple of lecturers running around the campus, but I haven't attended any myself. And I keep hearing it being boasted as the next newest thing that'll revolutionize the world.
I've only heard bits and scrapes.
I have
Some
not.
scientists used something. Reanimate frogs or something like that.
Yes, precisely. I have not yet performed the experiment. I have ordered the materials. They have been delivered. But my thought was, what if we used a pair of, I believe they call them electrodes, and established a circuit with the crystal in the midst of it to see if it reacted in a equally unusual way.
Aren't you worried that it could damage the thing?
From what I have been told, the risk to ourselves would actually be far greater than the risk to the crystal. Once the electrodes and the wires are placed, either the circuit will complete, in which case the energy should flow through it, or the circuit will not, as it is a material that cannot transmit the electrical current. The one thing is we will have to be careful to make sure that the electrodes do not touch the gold setting, as I have been told that the gold could complete the circuit by itself, and that would then invalidate the test.
This is an untested.
Sounds like entertainment for an evening.
Doesn't it just? Sounds like an evening of science.
Well, to be sure, science, but have you worked with these electrodes? I understand you just had them delivered, but have you Any experience with these yourself?
I have not, but I am familiar with their operation. My understanding, and of course I'm not as learned a man as the three of you, but it is a simple process of establishing a circuit from a generator or battery, a line which will go out from the generator or battery, and then eventually circles back to it again, making a completed current of power. And the purpose of the electrodes is to be able to interrupt that simple feed with objects or elements in between, which is how you would normally power an item with electricity.
Okay. You can see in Virgil's mind he is trying to draw some sort of correlation between battery and, for example, the circulatory system.
Okay.
I believe I've read a book by Italian name Volta, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It detailed his method in this to create this electricity using some very interesting chemistry.
I cannot deny I would be very curious, but this seems risky for... pardon me if I'm overreaching here, gentlemen, but it does seem a bit risky for a bunch of amateurs, myself included.
It does. However, this is exactly the type of risk that can get your names attached to a discovery.
Well, I say let's have ourselves another brandy while we set things up.
So he pours you all another one, and he goes, needing slightly more space, I have actually set up the kit in the library. So if you would be so kind as to follow me, and he leads you to a door in the study that you have never seen him open.
Oh.
And he opens it,
And out springs Marty Feldman?
and out springs Marty Feldman. and
Sorry.
inside, you see a room roughly 40 feet wide, but almost 80 feet long.
Whoa.
And there is a desk at one end, a fairly long table, maybe 8 or 9 feet, surrounded by chairs and a chaise lounge. And those are all in the middle of the room. And along the walls is just floor to 12-foot ceiling books and manuscripts.
Right. Good Lord.
I smell a bit the air, like the smell of books. Like, it smells like knowledge.
So
That would be...
he walks over to the table where you see an odd set of contraptions. There is what appears to be a 2-foot tall tower of alternating plates of metals, 2 different metals, because you can see 2 different, slightly different colors of white metal. And the entire tower has a clamp holding it together. And attached to the bottom and top of that clamp is a wire that run to two small devices, and they appear to be metal studs that have a film or a solution on the back of the stud, and the wire attaches to the front. And there's the tub of that, like, film or solution. It's almost like a cream on the table. There's also a flask that has a translucent liquid in it, also seated at the table. And he walks over and he says, "So, to my understanding, what we would need to do is to suspend the amulet above the table by some manner, with the electrodes attached to the front and back of the crystal proper. And that will
again, while avoiding touching the gold.
Yes. And that will allow the current cycle to be completed from the voltaic pile through the line, through the crystal, through the line, back to the voltaic pile.
So we need to set something up so that the mineral is suspended and not touching anything.
Correct. I mean, I assume that would be best.
Can we wrap the gold in kind of material? I guess we can test a bunch of materials to see if they are conducive to that electricity or not.
We should be able to. Also, we should be able to. Your idea of wrapping them, it's not a bad idea. We could perhaps use some cloth to try to insulate the gold, just to make sure that the current doesn't jump at all. I've been told that's a thing that can happen.
I'm going to start looking around because... So the first thing right now is we need to figure out how to suspend the... I'm going to keep saying mineral.
Mm-hmm.
So if we have something like a...
Well, we just use the fork or the fire fork in the study there.
Oh, that should work. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, make sure that the current doesn't touch it, but aside from that, it should be fine.
We can always wrap the thing in some kind of cloth.
Yes.
Right.
He walks over to the he walks over to by the door that you came in. There is a pull cord, and which he pulls on, and then a mere minute at most later, you see Jeffrey arrive via the study and then come into the library. And Richard Eddingston says to Jeffrey, it's like, we'll need you to fetch the amulet for us and the fire poker. And as well, if we have some cloth that we can make a couple quick wrappings for safety. If we have nothing else, I'm sure we can find some sheets that I can easily replace later. And then Jeffrey nods and says, "Of course, sir, I will be right back," and begins collecting all of the the devices that you're going to use for your experiment.
Have some maybe non-metallic tongue that we can use to approach the electrode, so we don't have to touch it our hand while we.
Oh, I have an insulated glove that we can use to make sure that to attach the wire of the closing circuit back to the voltaic pile. I have already planned for that eventuality. So after a few minutes, Jeffrey comes back in, and you busy yourselves trying to cover the gold on the amulet, as well as wrapping the entirety of the poker. And also like trying to figure out like how to brace the poker properly using, some heavy desk statuary and books and whatnot to be able to get an angle where we'll be able to hang it above the table.
The proper Rube Goldberg.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's 3 individual tasks. Who's wrapping the fire poker? Who's setting the effectively armature to hold it in place? And who is wrapping the amulet?
These are all dex checks, aren't they?
Not necessarily. Some of them may be sanity checks. You don't know.
Oh,
I
gee.
guess I'll be wrapping the amulet. That was my idea.
Okay.
And I'll go ahead and wrap up the poker and get that situated.
Okay.
Guess I'll try and set up the armature. Good luck, guys.
Okay. So the two of you, as in Noctis and Bacon, please give me dexterity checks.
That's exactly what I was afraid of.
Yes, but this is the part you should have been afraid of, and you were smart enough to avoid. And Sycorax, if you can give me a spot hidden roll, please.
Oh, screw. That's just not good. That's really bad.
Okay.
8, and I got 25.
Yeah. So you mostly wrap a fire poker, and you mostly stand up some things that you don't believe to be flammable to hold a fire poker in position, and you succeed in not seeing anything absolutely terrifying that may or may not be in the amulet while you're trying to fiddle with the setting to try to cover it, which Sycorax, you can now simply give me a dexterity check, because the dangerous one to fail has already been passed.
Oh, yes.
Good. And then we more or less probably mostly have the amulet contained as well.
It'll be fine.
Fine. Like I just use some cord like to wrap it around and keep the stuff in place. It's copper wire. It's fine.
Yeah, it's all. Everything will be fine. Nothing here is a bad idea. Okay, so
that's fantastic.
at which point, Richard Eddington, now that everyone else has set everything up and you each had your own task, and Bacon is making sure that the tower is set, and then Noctis makes sure that the poker wedges into it and stays above the table in the correct spot, and Sycorax hangs the amulet and attaches the electrodes to it correctly front to back. And then Richard Eddings takes the lead and attaches it to the top of the voltaic pile.
Mm-hmm.
At which point, there is a slight humming in the air. And you notice slowly over time, the crystal is getting brighter. Much like when the light shone through it in both directions and caught itself in the middle. But like not like that happened very quickly. This is just a little bit. At first you're not willing to trust your eyes, but then you see that it is in fact at the point behind the electrodes, like right around the edge of the electrodes, you're starting to see just a slight halo of light. The same light that you saw when the moonlight was refracted back through it. And then the device stays on, obviously, and that ring of light starts to glow a little bit wider and a little bit wider, and is slowly, ever so slowly, making its way to completely illuminate the amulet.
But just the amulet itself.
Well, I mean, just the what you refer to as
stone.
the mineral, the stone within the.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again,
That is interesting.
A way to create light from electricity that could also replace like all the gas lamp, or maybe.
and so much safer. No chance of burning, no chance of explosions or fires. And with that, can you please all make a dodge roll?
Do I have to? Yes, of course.
You don't
I do.
have to. If you choose not to make a dodge roll, I support your decision.
Right. Well, I probably won't. So, target is 32.
That was not.
That is not a 32.
Target is 32 as well.
One of you passed. See?
Hey, statistically, that's how it should be.
I mean, yes, with a 32, statistically, one of you should have passed. And that's exactly what happened. So, Jacob Anderson sees a flash and,
Ducks.
unsure of what's going to happen, starts to drop to the ground. You both see that action occur. A split second before, there is a brilliant explosion of light and perhaps heat and perhaps cold. There was something else. Maybe it was just the heat hitting so quickly that the nerves got confused. It's impossible to say for sure. However, you both take 2 hits. It is not a major wound. It is, however, though, not comfortable.
So that's actually hit points.
Yes.
Cool. Ouch.
Yeah. How many of those did you start with?
And
Yeah, we've already lost 20% of them.
Yay!
how is our host?
Yeah.
You know what? He also did not dodge, and he also got caught with the blast, and he is older and slightly more frail than the two of you, so he looks a bit more stunned, but not necessarily more injured.
I will probably go to the same what he used to call the domestic and
Okay,
install it.
the pull cord. Okay. What are the two of you doing?
Trying to disconnect the circuit.
Okay. So you take the glove that is on the table and you just kind of like whip it at the wire that was at the top of the circuit just to snap it free of the pile.
Right.
Noctis, were you doing anything?
Well, I get back up. It's like, is everybody okay? Oh. Well, as we were saying.
Yeah.
I may have to amend my statement about risks of fires and explosions.
Yes.
Immediately looking around, do we have any fires?
No.
Is the
But-
amulet still intact?
But
Since you've decided to look around,
Blinders, man. Blinders.
yeah. But that's meta, and we don't do
Give
meta around here.
me
We do the
an-
dumb.
intelligence check, please.
Oh, good. I should be able to do that.
Right? You're good at those.
Yeah, I'm good at those. Oh, bite me.
Well, you have two options. Okay.
Okay.
This is a game mechanics thing, which I will now explain.
Right.
In most cases, not all, but in most, and I'll tell you when you can't after you ask to, there are two ways you can try to affect a die roll. The trick is you can't ever do both to the same die roll.
Right.
You can either use your luck and temporarily lower your luck points by the amount required to pass the roll. Or you can push a roll, which is you explain to me how you're really focusing or really trying to do something in a manner where the first die roll didn't account for how much effort you were putting into it. And you roll again and either succeed or you fail in a much more entertaining method than simply not succeeding.
Okay. Well, I would have to bring luck down by
12,
12.
which I don't recommend.
No, so I will attempt the push.
Okay. So explain to me how you're looking around in a way other than just a cursory glance.
All right. So the explosion happened down here.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, okay, I'm worried about fire. And we used a lot of books
Mm-hmm.
to create this armature. But I also need to check around the immediate surrounding areas to see if maybe any of the wood of the table caught or something like this. So I'm concentrating the immediate search in that immediate area as if there was going to be an ignition of some type. It would be in that 3 or 4 foot
Cool.
diameter.
Give me another
If that
roll.
makes sense.
Yep,
Okay.
that works.
Okay, here we go. That's better.
There you go.
That's better.
And
Oh,
in
that's
fact-
a hard one then.
Yeah, and in fact, it was a hard success. Good roll.
Nice.
Okay, so you notice the books are fine.
The books are fun.
Do, however, notice that in a ring, perhaps 8 inches in diameter,
Okay.
the center point of that diameter being where the amulet was suspended above the table,
Okay.
there is some seared mark on the varnish of the tabletop, almost as if
Okay.
spark or flashing of some kind might have struck the table.
Okay.
It is not currently on fire,
Mm-hmm.
but there is most definitively a perfectly round
That was going to be my question.
area of like a odd, almost geometric but unevenly so, seared mark on the table.
So it's not a circle. This sear mark, for lack of a better way of putting it.
Well, it is, but like it's just like a ring of a sear mark, except that
Sure.
the ring isn't just a straight line. It kind of like has wiggles and patterns in it that goes around, but like it's all perfectly 8 inches in diameter.
Oh, I see. Okay. Make sure that the circuit is broken, then it's not liable to go off again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I didn't bring the bag in with me. Look around, see if I can find a magnifying glass, something like that.
There would probably be one on Eddingston's table, yes.
All right. Grab that. Let's take a look at this marking.
Okay. It is... It is not naturally occurring. Like, it doesn't just look like a flash line of some kind. It has some kind of pattern to it, but nothing that you're familiar with in any way.
He's staring at it. He's turning, just going around it a little bit. What?
What you looking at?
Hand of the magnifying glass.
Okay.
So this marking, this sear, flash wall, whatever, was not on this table until after we completed that circuit, and then it charged up, and then the explosion happened. Take a look at this marking.
Okay, I'll take
This-
a magnifying glass and
Right. Because that
look
is
at the
not
ring.
a typical occurrence for a flash line. This was something else that should not have happened.
In the
I have no
varnish
idea what
of
it
the
was.
table, Jacob Anderson sees a series of, again, pseudo-geometric patterns, predominantly horizontal and vertical interposing lines, making a circle or a ring 8 inches in diameter. And give me a intelligence check, which is a D%, and try to roll under your intelligence. Or I think if you click on the intelligence, you may be able to make the check directly.
Yeah, you should be able to do
Yeah,
that.
that's a right click.
There you go. No, not an opposed roll. Stop that.
Oh.
Try it again. I don't know why it's wanted an opposed roll, but... Okay. Do you want to push the roll? Or do you want to...
Well, you say that it was interposing lines, like... I know cuneiform is a series of horizontal and vertical lines with triangles, and does it kind of hold a
It-
resemblance to that?
It does. Would you like to try to use use one of your language skills to try to read it?
I think I might want, or hey, to just determine that, and yeah, it looks similar enough. I think it might be something like that.
Okay, give me a Sumerian language check.
That is a success.
That is a success.
So I'll grab a piece of paper and
Yeah, it's
start.
so you start trying to write it down. It's probably going to take you a bit of time to try to figure out what this is because I mean, it's not very precise.
Mhm.
You know, it's fire into varnish.
Yeah.
So
Well, actually, while I'm thinking about it, is the way that it burned the varnish. Is it something that maybe I could varnish onto a piece of paper so that we have a true copy of it?
yeah,
Try doing
you can
that.
make you can make a rubbing of it.
Yeah, go ahead and make a rubbing of it to give me something to go by.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'm gonna have to have a table with me.
And
See that this looks familiar. Give me a little bit.
as you begin doing, as you grab a sheet of paper and begin doing a rubbing of the circle on the table, make a education roll for me.
Oh,
Okay.
Seriously. Seriously.
Oddly enough, that was one that you wanted to fail, so good job. All right, so you just start doing a tracing. David and Virgil, what are you doing while he's taking 5 or 10 minutes to try to trace the residue on the table?
Is Rusty coming back? Like after
Yeah, Jeffrey has arrived at the door.
say that there was some kind of an accident with the experiment. Like we might need our host might need some attention.
Okay. I can take the coach and try to ring up the local. I can take the coach and try to ring up a local doctor if you want.
Virgil, aren't you a doctor?
yeah. Yeah. Of course.
Do you have anything? What would you need to be able to patch up?
Jeffrey, my medical bag is
Hey,
still
Charlie.
out within.
Yes, I will. I'll go retrieve it for you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. It's just getting caught up in the science, and wow.
You became a scientist there for a minute and forgot you were a medical doctor.
Yeah, really? No, I just. Gee, Hippocrates would have my guts right now. But I'll need to. Yeah, I'll start checking Mr. Eddington's pulse, eyes, make sure they're. Is he conscious? He's
Yes.
conscious.
Yeah, he's conscious.
Right.
He's alert.
Right. Check his pulse, make sure his eyes still track, that sort of thing.
Give me a medical roll.
Oh, good. Something I should be good at.
Right?
Target is 60.
And that's a
I'm just-
70.
Coming up Wheaton right now. Wow.
Spirit of Grey is with us.
No doubt.
The dice of gray are with you.
Yeah, really. I think I'm gonna have to push here.
Okay.
My as it was a as it was a light explosion.
Mhm.
Particular, I'm probably going to want to have to look at his pupils, make sure they're not overly dilated
Okay.
or overly closed, something like that.
Mhm.
Okay, so wait a minute. We said medicine, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's try that again.
Wow.
Okay, I am.
He appears fine. You're kind of, examining him, checking reflexes and everything. You go to focus on the eyes as you enlarge the eye a little bit and take
Right.
a candle and pass it back and forth to check optical reaction. As the candle moves perfectly between you and him, the midpoint of the swing, you hear him scream in pain, and he drops down onto the floor, like
Okay,
shielding
not
his
good.
eyes.
No. What the? Okay, shielding his eyes?
Yes.
All right, find a cloth or something and put it over his eyes. Try to. Wow. Try to. Yeah, give him some shade, for lack of a better way of putting it.
Okay. So you bandage over his eyes to keep them covered. I don't know what happened. I wasn't having any difficulty seeing until the light got close and was directly in front of me, and then all of a sudden, just a searing pain.
In the meantime, I just want to
Very,
check.
very not right here.
I would like to check maybe the ceiling and maybe all the surrounding bookshelf to
Okay.
see if there was some.
There doesn't appear to be, there's no ash, there's no soot. And also, by the way, the crystal is still there. It's still hanging there.
Right.
Everything appears fine. You haven't figured out what the cause of the flash was any more than you've figured out what the cause of the double illumination was. And you have this sear mark in the table, and the rest of the room looks fine. Untouched. Uninterrupted. Just a moment of unexplainable activity, a mark that couldn't have been created, and no other residue. And Sycorax, give me a sanity roll.
Oh boy!
Here's where the fun begins, Chad. $61. I don't believe that's a pass, as your sanity is a 20.
Oh.
Do you accept the fail? Do you spend all of your luck to try to make it a pass, and you in fact cannot push a sanity check? And honestly, that's probably for the best.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to fail. I would need.
Okay.
I need 41 luck point to pass it with luck.
Yeah, not so much. Okay, so the sear mark in the table, the item that is not related to anything else that just happened, And as you're watching Jacob Anderson do a rubbing of the mark, the sound of the charcoal changes in your ears to a sound of stone on stone, a grinding sound.
What the?
And then you hear a language that you don't recognize. And you lose 1 sanity point. Best possible outcome.
Under the circumstances.
Thing is really getting on my nerves. It's second time today that it does something it should never had happen. Are we sure we want to continue meddling with that thing?
I certainly wouldn't recommend hooking it up to the electricity thing again.
No.
At least not without better safeguards.
Jeffrey arrives at the door. You know, to come back, he has, you know, your full medical kit, and
Right.
you know, he looks somewhat concerned seeing Richard, you know, having his eyes bandaged. Sir, is there anything you would wish for me to get for you? No, Jeffrey. I believe I'm fine. Just, you know, these things sometimes happen in the pursuit of knowledge, and I'll be fine by morning. You can you can, you know, go to your quarters, Jeffrey. If we need anything, we will ring for you further. Yes, sir. Of course, sir. And he looks at the three of you and then walks back out of the room.
Okay. Going through the bag real quick, and then Mr. Eddingston, are you currently in any pain?
No, none whatsoever.
Okay.
I feel fine.
I'm going to try to remove the bandage
Okay.
slowly. And I pull it slowly, you know, because I don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that bright in here now,
Right.
but something set him off. So the point is bring from dark to shade, somewhat heavy, before he's in the illuminated state that the three of us are in.
Okay.
So,
Give me a medical roll.
oh, you're doing so well.
Better
with
than your
those.
last two.
Yeah, really. Target is
I-
60.
Brilliant.
That's better.
You carefully remove the bandages
Mm-hmm.
and you re-examine his eyes. And his eyes appear normal and undamaged, with the exception of, in the iris, you see small refractive almost like a flake-like tissue,
What the?
similar in nature to the amulet.
Okay. All right. Sit him up. I've got an anti-inflammatory just in case,
Okay.
right?
Mhm.
Have him take that and just, breathe in and out slowly for a moment.
Sure. Is there something
Mr.
wrong?
I'm still working on that. Bear with me.
All right.
Mr. Graham,
Yes.
Where's-
What can I do for you?
give me here a second, please. Eyes. Look here. And I'm sorry, I'm not being particularly gentle about it, but
Right.
I'm opening the eye
hmm
because I know he and I were both caught full in the face.
Okay.
I am looking for similar, unusual in the iris patterns in Mr. Graham's eye that I just saw in Mr. Eddingston's.
Medical check, please.
Right. Blow me. Nope, I'm not gonna. Okay, so I don't see a damn thing. Okay.
I'm actually going to give this one to you.
Okay, fair.
This. Remember how I said there's that. One of the problems with Chill is that it's a good game that has never had a good game system.
Sure.
One of the problems with Call of Cthulhu is, even though they're on a 7th generation of it, it's a
Yeah.
7th iteration of a 80s 90s game mechanic
Right.
where where it utilizes a pass or nothing happens system.
Right.
It's outdated.
Okay.
I like legitimately you could have a party never find the you could specifically have a party never even find the adventure.
Right.
Right? Like,
Right.
it's a mechanical issue.
All you have to do is open the door. Yeah.
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 Just
one
for
of
some
those.
reason can't find the handle.
Yeah.
You see, not to the same extent, but you do see a similar kind of thing in Mr. Graham's eyes.
And I let that.
It's not enough to affect like the color of the eye or anything else. It's just something.
It's not supposed to be there.
There's something wrong, Virgil?
I'm beginning to wonder. Any dizziness, anything like that?
I feel fine. Like maybe bruised a little by the explosion, but otherwise I feel fine.
Just to be certain, Mr. Anderson.
Hmm.
Give me just a second, please. And I'm going to do the same.
Okay.
But I know that hopefully, at least theory, he got out of the way, so he might not have got caught in full in the face.
All right.
But
Give
I
me
wanna
another
take a
medical
look.
check.
Okay. It's there. It's there, and it's pretty good.
And yeah, it's there. His eyes have the exact same.
What?
And I will now add a new ability to each of your cards
Oh,
that you will see called Sense Unknown.
Oh, fun! Great!
This Unlike spot hidden, which can only interact with the physical world, sense unknown is what you use to try to see anything that shouldn't be.
Well, that's the check we want to fail, right?
Sometimes.
You've all seen Reanimator, right?
One question:
Sometimes
shouldn't unknown be capitalized?
I
It is capitalized.
yeah.
I mean, fully capitalized.
Nope, just the U. Just the U.
It is proper.
Just
it's proper now.
just unknown with a capital U.
All right. So, and now I'm going to see if I can find a mirror, and I'm going to try and check my own eyes.
Okay.
I mean, if you saw it in mine, I would have
Yeah,
tried to see it in yours.
Yeah, that concerns me. But yeah, I'm gonna find it. Yeah, see if I can find
Now,
a mirror.
The amount of this refractive material that is in Richard Eddingston's eyes is far, far more
Right,
than the three of
Right.
you.
right.
He was closest to the thingy when it went off.
No, he was closest to the pile. Probably the one closest to the amulet itself would have been Jacob Anderson, but also he was the one that ducked under the table when it happened. So, hey ho.
And it might be due to the fact that Mr. Eddingston is a bit further along in the years
Could be.
than we are. So is. But I have no frame of reference here.
Or maybe it's because he has used the amulet before, like he.
Also possible.
Yeah, who said that this happened during his part? Like it could have happened during the, let's say, light refraction experience. And
It's possible.
if our host have done that several times before,
Mhm.
and the effects of this is
Cumulative.
additive, or
Yeah. So it appears there's some no idea, but it appears that we've all undergone some sort of the only word that I have for it is mutation. There's been
That's
some sort of interaction which has caused in all of us some change in the eye. But I have absolutely no frame of reference for this. To my knowledge, for lack of a better way of putting it, the refraction property, particularly the movement in the mineral that apparently only I and Mr. Eddington saw originally, is now happening in all of our eyes. I have no frame of reference. So there's no... I can't even hazard a guess. I don't know if we're in danger. I don't know if it's benign, malignant. I've no idea.
What are you saying? Some of the mineral got in our eye, or?
I'm gonna risk looking the mineral over. Has anything flashed out of it? Is it still whole, for lack of a better way of putting it? This is the GM.
Spot check.
Balls. Spot hidden we're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this ought to go well. Target is 25.
Actually, no. Well,
No?
you rolled anyway. That's okay.
Yeah, I rolled anyway.
Let's not do it that way. Let's instead... It's weird. The more I use the system, the more I wish we had used Monster of the Week. Give me a intelligence.
Flat intelligence?
Give me a flat intelligence check.
Flat intelligence.
Ridiculously successful. There is no damage to the amulet or its setting in any way that you can tell. You can also tell that whatever shadow, moving, squirming thing that you saw before when it was under high illumination, maybe it's just now knowing that it's there, it's easier to see it. Probably. Hopefully. But
Gee, thanks, buddy.
you can just make out the faint outline of something moving within the crystal.
It's moving more than it was.
About the same. The difference is, I mean, you didn't really examine it aside from when it was under high illumination before,
Sure.
but you couldn't see that aside from when it was under high illumination before, and it is not currently under high illumination. I mean, it could have been that if you had looked at it before, you would have been able to see it right now anyway.
Maybe.
It could. You don't know. It's probably okay.
Sorry.
Gentlemen, I propose that we call it for tonight. Been a lot of. I thought just GM, just let me. What time is it right now?
It's probably around 8 p.m.
The light is still young. I thought it was a bit late.
That's okay.
I would have proposed that we adjourn the science session for tonight and come back tomorrow after a short rest. Yeah, if it's only 8 p.m., that's
It's a little earlier, yeah.
appropriate.
Yeah, I would agree. We should probably, but let's make sure, absolutely sure, that the kit is powered down, for lack of a better way of putting it. That there is no way that the circuit could rearm accidentally, basically remove the amulet from the fire poker and put it like on the other side of the table away from the kit, just to make absolutely certain. And then also push the electrodes and the leads as far away from each other as possible.
Okay.
Yes, I'm being paranoid.
Is anybody doing anything with the amulet?
I'd like to take another look at it, because now that, cause I assume that I've gotten the rubbing done by now.
Mhm.
Are there any like scratches or anything on the setting that kind of are reminiscent of what was on the etching?
Again, there's something on the outside edge of the setting which
But it's worn away.
is so worn it's impossible to tell. It might have been cuneiform. It might have been like an etched braiding. I can't see it. However,
I was gonna say I would like to take a rubbing of
okay.
outer band
Okay.
as well.
Also give me a spot hidden roll. The skill no one wants to roll ever.
Don't find whatever it is.
You missed by 6. Do you want to?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to use luck to pass, or are you going to be blissfully
I'll push it.
ignorant?
I'll push it because I'm really getting in there and looking. Because I'm turning it over,
Okay.
do the rubbing. So I'm actually engaged with this thing for probably a good 5-10 minutes at
All right.
least.
So you're going to push the roll and re-roll the whole thing and hopefully get a 20 or lower.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nope.
Wow.
Wow. that was so risky.
That wasn't expected.
Was it?
Okay, so you also see something in the crystal. You can't make out what the shape is. It almost looks like when you look at a tree in the distance through the fog. It's impossible to know exactly how far you are from the tree because you don't know how tall the tree is, and also the fog makes depth impossible to judge. And you can't make out specific shapes. Like, you can make out specific shapes, but you can't make out details in anything through the fog. You basically just have silhouettes. There's something moving in the crystal of the amulet. It's flowing or waving in the breeze almost. And it is noticeable, but undefinable, and again in that kind of almost like through the fog kind of way.
I think I see what y'all were referring to. Interesting. Anyway, complete the rubbing and collect papers. Like, well, this will give me at least something to do for the evening.
Take 1 point of sanity damage. But other than that, you're fine.
What's 1 point of sanity?
Right? I mean, you have to lose 10 to go loopy, and you guys have only lost like 1 or 2 so far. You're doing great.
7. Exactly. Got plenty of time.
I mean, you're like 80-90% normal. It's okay. So what do you do next?
Well, I'm collecting the rubbings and going to the notes that I brought with me, and I'm going to see what I can make of this stuff.
Okay. Are you guys staying here in the library, or are you going to?
I think we should retire from the library, maybe back into the den.
Okay.
For now.
So you start to walk out of the library back into the study, and as you reach the study, you see everything in the study has been moved.
What the?
There are books strewn across the floor. The furniture has all been slightly turned. The curtains over the windows have all been completely thrown open as far as they can. And that is where we'll take our break. And we'll be back in a couple minutes. So stick around, everybody. If you have any questions for me or our players, go ahead and drop it in the chat. I'm going to get up and stretch, and I will be right back. Okay. So you come into the study, and the entire thing has been ransacked. Books are overturned. Papers are spread everywhere on the floor. And all of the furniture is like slightly moved. The curtains on the windows are pulled back for full view. The mirror that was used to display the property of the crystal is sitting in the center of the blotter on the desk, facing where the chair would be sitting if the chair wasn't in fact toppled to the floor. And just everything is completely askew in a way that couldn't have happened without making noise and without Jeffrey commenting on, and neither of those two things happened. So everyone give me a sanity roll, and if you pass, you don't lose any, and if you fail, you lose one.
$59 is the target.
Oof.
Yep, that's one.
That's one's around.
Okay.
80%
one.
sane.
Only one.
80% sane. So what do you do?
I try to do the reasonable thing. Look for signs of effraction, like if somebody has false window building, like the logical thing to do, you
Okay.
know, right? Even if we
Give me a give me a intelligence check.
I was saying the manservant would have had to come through this room.
Yes.
Yeah.
Several
we
times.
we need to get a hold of him.
Yeah, you don't see anything that looks like an entry point. It doesn't. The windows themselves weren't disturbed, just the curtains on them. There are only two doors in the study: the one that goes into the library you were in, and the one that goes into the hall.
Check the hole.
Okay. You walk out into the hall. The hall is empty. Your feet echo on the polished marble floor through the quiet room. It is faintly lit by the gas lamps on the wall, but you don't see anything out of place. Just the study.
Only the study. Start picking up. Hey. Oh,
But the
brains are simply not there.
And had we taken the bandages off of Richard yet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we did that a while
That's how
ago.
you all figured out about the...
Yeah.
how does he look like? Is he agitated? How is he react to seeing?
He is frustrated at the state of his study and also confused because he also didn't hear anything.
Oh, would you like a hand putting things back in order?
Please, if you don't mind.
After that, I think I'll need another shot of your brandy.
Brett, the only one we need to get Jeffrey back down here because
Easy enough to do. And he walks over and he pulls the pull cord for the chime.
right.
He'll be along in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob begins cleaning up from the floor, and you notice that on some of the papers, on some of the, like, you haven't really checked the books themselves, but it's easier to notice on the papers as you're picking them up. On a couple of the papers, there are words missing. As in a handwritten sheet of paper or a typed sheet of paper where, as you would read through in a sentence, there is a spot where a word would be cut out, except the paper isn't damaged. It's just missing the word in the middle of the sentence.
Let's start clocking. And these are, I think, personal record or personal letters, that sort of stuff that
Yeah.
I'm seeing it on.
Yeah, personal letters, letters of correspondence, stuff like that. Like nothing important, nothing spectacular. Just every once in a while, a page here, a page there, a word not present. A the pronoun I. Just individual words removed from pages.
Richard, have you been in the habit of half-writing letters?
No. Should I be?
Well, it's an odd habit to get into, but take a look at these.
Also,
Tell me
you
what
notice
see.
it's not all, like, it's not even all just his writing. It's also letters sent to him.
Yeah.
Also missing
Yeah,
words. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's...
But
Can
they
we
can start pointing out the words that are missing. It's like,
can we deduce what are the missing words?
That's not what that's not what any of these looked like.
do you remember what words were there?
I mean, I can try. I can try to, like, if we find, as you find pieces where the words are missing, I can try to figure out. Context clues should be easy enough for most of them. And I can note them down. We can try to work on something with them.
Because that's odd. But yeah, if we could figure out what the words were, who knows? Something may come of it, may come of nothing. Who knows? I continue to pick up stuff and take note of pages I see and start that whole process.
All right. What is David and Virgil doing at the moment?
Okay, I'm waiting for Jeffrey, but
Okay.
I would be collecting books, putting them back together.
Yeah. But
Nudging like furniture in place.
I'm going to take a look at the books that. Yeah, is there any commonality between them? Subject matter, anything like that? Or is it completely random?
Education, please.
Okay.
All of the books, all of the letters, all of the correspondence
Sure.
is all the only linking points is they are all in this room. They were all written in the same language. There are multiple writers, multiple sources, multiple forms of writing. Some were handwritten, some were typed. On a myriad of different topics, and also, like I said, just letters of correspondence. So the only three things that seem to align them are they are all written word, they are all written in English, and they are all in this room. Other than that, you don't find any correlation between them.
And if we can deduce the missing words either from context or from Richard's memory, them all back together, did we discern any pattern message? trying to get all the missing words, put them together, and try to order them in order to see if it's from a message or something like that.
Okay. What I'm going to do, and give me just a second to do this, I have written out what the passage is. And to make it nearly impossible for you, because I'm helpful that way, I am going to take every word out of that statement, and I am going to write them all in alphabetical order because you have no idea what other order they could possibly be in. So this way there is no order but disorder, so you don't have any false leads about finding them in certain orders, and these words have to go together because that's the order we found them in, kind of thing. And you will get all of the words in the thing. Just give me 1 second.
Refused state where nothing makes sense and the keys to knowledge have been lost forever.
I mean, sounds like a Sunday.
Just a bit.
Now is the time to remember that we're in the 1800s, so we cannot just pass everything into Google.
Yep. Also, as each of you read the list, which I will also put up for chat. M, and bringer, change, confusion, corruption, darkness, deceiver. There's a reason I wrote that word differently. Despair, hope, I, the pronoun, into, light, life, of, the word the 5 times. One of them is also bold and italic. I'll go into that in a second. To, turned, war. When you read the word deceiver and one specific utterance of the word the, I need you each to give me a sanity check.
For each?
No. As in, when you're reading
Okay.
the list and you get to those 2 words, you'll just be like, boom. Dun was not what I expected Ari to type in when the word deceiver showed up. I'm just saying.
That's a fail.
That's a fail. Oh,
That's
Bacon.
total another fail.
Bacon just rolled a
Bacon.
100.
Bacon.
Bacon.
Yep.
Bacon.
Yep.
I'm. Good night, buddy. Okay.
Bye.
I intentionally gave you the highest sanity of all of the players just so that you could not go Nazo right away. And here you go.
Bacon, take comfort in this. The last game that I played, I ended because I rolled 100 on a sanity check.
Completely not so, and I'm here for it. God.
Okay, so
Oh.
for Jacob Anderson and for David Graham, when you read the list and your eyes settle on those 2 words, the 2 words, like, you know the word deceiver, you know the word the, but there's something about the combination of those 2 words coming together aligning together that chills your blood and immediately sets your mind racing towards every childhood fear you ever had. And in that moment, you both lose 3 sanity. Bacon?
Yeah. Slow, folks.
Bacon, my dude.
Yep. What just happened?
It'll be fine.
Oh yeah, no, it's totally cool.
I mean, nothing to worry about. There certainly can't be any long-term ramifications for critically botching a sanity check. You look over the words.
Yeah.
And when you read deceiver and and put them together in your mind as you start trying to figure out ways that, articles come before
Right.
articles come before nouns, different ways you can put words together. And as soon as you lock a the in front of deceiver in your mind, you see a blinding flash of light.
Oh, wonderful.
The same as the illumination from the crystal, the same as the explosion from the crystal.
Oh, spiffy.
You feel very small.
Yeah.
You feel that your understanding of the world was fundamentally flawed.
Yeah.
You feel... Roll me an intelligence check. You want to fail this. You cannot push it or adjust the roll.
Okay. Nope.
And
Oh dear.
you succeed.
Critical réussi.
Your mind refuses to let go, refuses to dismiss the reality that your reality is in fact false, and that the truth is the lie. Everything you have learned about how the world works was told to you to keep you in the dark. And in the darkness is the light, and everything is backwards. And you take I don't want to make this roll. I know you don't want me to make this roll.
Make the roll.
5 points of sanity damage.
Okay.
Also, I'm going to send you one other piece of information that I need you to role play
Yay.
with your character.
I don't know that I'll be able to, but I'll try.
I mean, you're not dead yet. Let me do it.
I'm really regretting my life choices right now.
I mean, there have been no good ones.
Not at all.
But are they choices? You just read the letter.
I mean, were they choices, or was this just always going to happen?
I believe the choice was firing up Discord tonight.
You are correct, Sam. Okay. I actually don't know what's worse, the fact that I'm about to go completely bibbly, or the fact that Deuce is making me wait for it.
You can just ask Richard for more of its delicious alcohol.
I was gonna say, substantial portions of brandy were used for medicinal purposes in this day and age.
Yeah. More brandy.
Oh,
More
yeah.
brandy. And you guys now have a list of words?
You dick. Wait a minute. Nope, I'm officially fine. No problem.
Yeah. You're fine. You're totally fine.
Problem.
I mean, no reason to be concerned. How many
None at
sanity
all.
points is that?
Well, I was at 60. I'm now at 53. So
So you've lost 7.
Yeah,
If you
And
lose,
you lost 5 at once.
and yes,
I lost 5 at once.
if you, which is why you got the thing you got,
Yeah.
and if you lose 10 in one session,
Yep.
you are done. You have 3 strikes left.
Let's go.
Well, at least you still have got 53. You know why I started at 20?
I know. I told you he was in the best way.
Let's go.
He was in the best way to stay sane. He started with a 60. A 60. That's incredible. But no. Bacon just needed to piss it all away.
Every time the dice are weighted and he hit the table, he made sure he screwed me over.
You cannot blame this one on me. You did this intentionally. I was trying to keep you.
On you. You did this intentionally.
Okay. You guys have your words. You have your office that you have basically put back into order now.
Well, this list of words here, it doesn't instill any warm, fuzzy feelings, does it? Regardless of how they're arranged.
Some of the words are good words.
I'm coming up with I am the deceiver, I am the bringer of change. Returned. Okay. Actually, let me look at this. Maybe I can.
Hope turned into despair, light turned into darkness. Probably something like that.
It would make sense. Not the only way it could be worded, but
Yeah, there's only one into. There's a 2 that maybe like hope turned to despair, light turned to darkness.
well, if y'all want to work on that, I have my own project to work on. I will go back to working on the. See if I
Jeffrey
can
comes in.
piece together.
Okay.
And he looks around, like, as you guys are still finishing cleaning up some of the mess. And he was like, what happened?
If we only knew. Can you give us a hand and
Certainly. And he helps you with writing the furniture and stuff.
Yeah, we came out of the library a little bit ago, and the room was in disarray. You had just been through here, what, half hour ago?
Yeah, twice, in fact. Well, 4 times, because in, out, and out.
Yeah. And you didn't notice. I would assume you would notice.
No, nothing.
Yeah. Don't know. And then go back to my book.
Or maybe Jeffrey's brain didn't try to hold on to it like someone else's did.
Is he lying or is he? Can I try to determine?
Psychology roll.
Target is 30.
Oh, 2. Rockstar. See, that's how you roll. Okay. He is not lying in so much as he believes the room was fine when he walked through it. However, your knowledge of psychology would suggest that when he mentions walking through the room, and then when he mentions again how many times he walked through the room, and when he says nothing was out of place, he physically demonstrates signs of almost a battlefield trauma. His pupils, shrink then dilate. You notice that his breathing quickens, even though he's just saying normal words, and his brow begins to sweat. It's not that he's lying. He believes that the room was absolutely fine because he needs to believe that the room was absolutely fine.
Maybe he saw the room was not fine and his subconscious choose to completely ignore it because that's what any sane person would do.
No, sir, I'm absolutely certain the room was fine.
Very well. I don't know what's the most frightening. So back to this translation.
Mm-hmm. And so you're working on the translation, I believe. Virgil is also working on the translation, and Jacob Anderson is working on the rubbing from the table.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Virgil and David.
Yeah.
Make a sense unknown roll. There is no penalty if you fail, but if you pass, you will get information.
Where it is 10. Nope.
No. Okay.
And it's a bit too high to use luck to get.
Yeah. Jacob, give me a Sumerian roll, please.
Ouch.
Give me a sanity roll.
You trip the candle and burn your own scribing.
Oh.
Oh, that's just beyond. Oh,
And give me an intelligence roll.
oh no!
No, that's good. That means his brain didn't try to hold on.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
Brain
That's fair.
says, nope,
Yeah. How about?
nope.
As you finish the transcribing the rubbing as close as you can, you look. Great. What have you done? You look at it for a split second, and briefly, just for the smallest amount of time, you're actually able to perfectly translate it. I'm not going to tell you what that said, however, because your brain holds onto it only for the shortest amount of time. And in that split second of time, you inherently, at your core, know exactly what that message says and exactly what it means and exactly what's going to happen next. And you're aware of everything and completely aware that as a human being, you are completely incapable of stopping it. And in that split second that you're aware of this, your brain simply rewinds the tape and it erases that second of memory so that it never happened and you never saw what you saw and you never needed to learn what you learned, and you are back to trying to decipher the manuscript, and you lose 1 point of sanity.
That's only 1 point.
It's all in dribs and drabs, except for me.
Tick. Tick. Tick.
Love it.
So, Jacob Anderson, what would you like to do? Would you like to try to translate the document?
Right?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm not really fluent in Sumerian, but
No, I'm sorry. No, I said it right. I said Jacob, not Jacob Anderson, not David Graham. So,
Yes.
Noctis, would you like to try to translate the document? Please roll your Sumerian. Because remember, that second never happened for you, so we do the whole thing again. That was so close to another 000. Oh my god! You're working on it. It's going to take you some time.
Yeah.
you should temporarily ban Gray from that server.
Chat.
No, it's
Chat.
ghost.
They don't.
Dice.
Chat. They don't want me to be able to tell this story. They don't want to get to the end of it. They just want their characters to melt right now. They all want to have an early night. That's what's happening right here.
Can I play an advantage card? Like,
I mean, you have our second set of characters ready to go, right?
Oh.
Yeah, look, I'm 3 points of sanity from complete, melt.
I'm 4.
Jacob Anderson is working on the manuscript. You guys are working on the puzzle. What do you think you have so far, if anything?
I think I'm just like, I am the deceiver, the bringer of change. Something. Hope turned into despair, light turned into darkness, and
Yeah, it's my difficulty is I can't quite Yeah, it's definitely along those lines. But
There
it's
is
just,
one sentence, and this will allow you guys to start knocking off some words.
Okay.
There is one sentence that was, I am the deceiver.
Right.
There is one sentence that was, the light turned into darkness. There are 3 other sentences. You have 2 of 5. Well done.
40. Okay. All right. So I need to. The only way I'm going to be able to do this is if I actually. Oh, good gads. This is going to be ugly.
Everyone give me a spot hidden roll.
Not hidden.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hot spitting.
Target is 25.
That's a close one. Oh.
Nope.
Jacob was the closest, but he was 14 points away. While you guys are working on it, Richard has also taken a copy of the list of words, and has moved around to sit at his desk, and is also working on things. And he looks up once or twice, and then puts his head back down and keeps working. Jacob, give me a Sumerian roll. I saw the 00 and I panicked.
That's the opposite of a 00.
Roll a D3. No, sorry. Roll a D2 because I don't want you to get the whole thing. But roll a D2. Excellent.
2.
There are 3 sentences that you don't have. You can choose, do you want the first one, the second one, or the third one? And you can choose 2 of them.
Let's take the first and last.
Okay. So you guys now have everything but the middle one. Which means you get...
You see that list of words again. Start making comparisons.
Missing words. Show players.
Yeah, well, I've got it.
Okay.
It's me. So, yeah.
Okay. Fair.
So, I am the bringer of confusion. The light turned into darkness. A life turned into corruption. I am the deceiver.
Change. We missed. Turned. And. Off.
So the stuff that I was getting is, you said there's 3 sentences, or they got 2 already. There were 3 remaining. I found 2 more. So
Correct.
We just have
So
the
there
last
was
one.
so all of the words you have left, unless I did something wrong, should make 1 sentence, and that's the third one. And this way, your brain has gotten it in smaller pieces, so it didn't go all melty. Yet.
I think I need to start over again.
Who has the amulet? I think it's Noctis, right?
I believe so.
Something like the word change and turn hope to despair.
See, I had the amulet when I took the rubbings.
Mm-hmm. And what did you
Wasn't
do
there
with
somebody?
it?
I don't think I stayed. I did anything with it.
Nope. Nobody has. Do you know where it is?
Imagine it should be back in the library with all the No, that's right. We did say, or Bacon said he took the amulet and he put it away from all the electronic apparatus.
Right.
So it should still be in the library.
I'll go in there and grab it. I have a feeling. I will go back into the library, grab the amulet, bring it back in.
Okay.
I feel like I'm missing. Hey, you know what? Start from the beginning here.
Virgil,
Mm-hmm.
give me an education roll.
Oh, good.
As you walk into the library
Yeah.
and you begin to pick up the amulet,
Mm-hmm.
you are distracted by the library, by the books in the library. They're all leather-bound editions.
Mm-hmm.
Leather being stained a number of different ways. And many of the books, the covers of the books are red leather.
I start going through and picking slowly at first. As many of them that I can reach
Mm-hmm.
and start. Well, I'm holding them and then I realize I can't because I have to get all of them. So I put them down on the table. Then I go and get more.
Well, but then you're not holding them if you put them on the table.
Problem.
How can you hold all of the red covers of the books and still be able to hold all of them at the same time?
I have to figure this out.
You have a thought.
I need these books.
I mean, what's making it hard to hold all of the covers is everything that's between the covers. So, if Virgil were to just start ripping the covers off of first edition priceless manuscripts, he'd be able to carry all the covers.
Covers. So I start, and I'm very not good about it. But yes, I start going. Yip 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 yip.
Give me a sanity roll, sir.
Oh. Target is 53, and I think I want to fail because it's just really amusing at this point.
Okay.
Nope.
You are
I'm fine.
You are unfortunately able to be aware of what you're doing.
Oh no.
So you have a choice, and Virgil has to make this choice consciously. He can either choose to give in and actively destroy priceless manuscripts and first editions. Or he can, at the risk of his own sanity, try to resist and protect the books.
He would resist and try to protect the books because these things are, but they're so rad. We must protect the books. The books are knowledge, science. So yes, I'm officially trying to protect the books.
After ripping off just the first couple and getting a hold of yourself, so you guys hear some commotion from the other room, specifically something sounding like books being just literally just bindings being snapped. And Virgil, in choosing to protect the library, loses 2 more sanity. That puts you at a 51.
Yes, it does.
The next point of sanity you lose is the end of the character.
It's the end of the character, I know.
Okay?
Sorry. I'm just, I'm fine. No problem.
My goodness.
So you guys heard a noise, like you heard a weird sound from the library, then like almost like a grunt of pain, followed by "I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine." What do you do?
Virgil,
I'm still.
all right?
I almost got it. I am focused on that sentence. I almost got it. I almost have it. I
I'll
have it.
set my papers aside and kind of walk towards like Virgil. Are you getting in there?
Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. You just need to focus.
And
Grab the amulet, get
Yep.
out of the library.
And Virgil walks back out of the library holding the amulet and doing exactly what Bacon just did. Of don't.
Are you okay there?
No problem. No problem. And he's actually, at this point, partially shielding his eyes
Okay.
because he's afraid he's going to see something, and it's because he knows what's going on. He
Oh,
knows
yeah, yeah.
exactly what's going on.
He's aware of the state of his mind. He is absolutely completely aware of the state of his mind. Unfortunately for him.
Yeah. It's not good.
Because ignorance is bliss. If you don't know that the monster under your bed is real, you can still tell yourself that it's just your imagination and that those aren't claws scraping on the ground.
Yeah, the problem is I know better.
But you know that monster's there now.
Yep.
So you hear the claws. You can't ignore them.
Yep. Have we had any luck figuring out this last sentence? Figuring out what the heck's going on here?
I'm not sure. Like I got something like change of war and turn the hope to despair, or war of change, turn hope to despair. I turn into darkness and the hope to despair.
You hear Richard say, the hope of change. The hope of change turned to war and despair. I am the bringer of confusion. The light turned into darkness. The hope of change turned to war and despair. The life turned to corruption. I am the deceiver. And you realize he's looking in the mirror the whole time he's saying this. And then he says it again. But this time the only person who can understand it is Jacob. Because this time he says it in perfect Sumerian.
He's still looking into the mirror.
While looking into the mirror.
What did he say, Jacob?
I stand up. Is he still continuing to repeat it, or is
He
just
starts to
staring
repeat it again, this time in English again.
Okay, I walk over to Richard and I put my hand on his shoulders and pull him away from. Do you know what you're saying?
Do you look at the mirror or not?
No, I look at him.
Okay. You're looking at him. As you start to pull him, because he's seated at the desk, as you start to try to pull him away, he white knuckles into the desk with his hand that's to the side that you're not at, so that you're unable to move him. And he is staring dead into the mirror, alternating, reciting English, then Sumerian, then English, and then the one after that, oddly enough, was
Assyrian?
Italian. Okay. English, Sumerian, English, Italian.
Okay, at that point, I'm going to walk into the library.
Okay.
And retrieve...
You're walking into... Stop. Yes. You're walking into the library.
Okay.
Bacon, what are you doing?
I make the mistake, and I know this is coming, I look into the mirror as I'm trying to cover his eyes.
Okay. Sycorax, what are you doing?
I'm a bit confused.
That's safe.
That's a good description.
Yeah, that sounds like it. Like
yeah, that could work. You're just sitting there going, you're looking at the, as he's reading it, you're not even really processing that he's going into multiple languages. You're just looking at your list of words and matching them to what he just said and going, yeah, I think that's all of them. I think that might be what it says. That could possibly, almost
and then I
blissfully
recite the entire sentence.
Yeah. Virgil.
Yep.
You cover his eyes, and as you do, you look at the mirror.
Yep.
And you realize in that moment that no one ever looked at the mirror after the mirror reflected the amulet. You all focused on the amulet, not its reflection in the mirror. And you realize now, because it's in front of you, that mirror is still in that point in time when the amulet was blazing with light. Whatever the mirror saw in the amulet made it impossible for the mirror to move past that moment. Richard continues. This time he's speaking in French. And David knows that the French he is speaking in is absolutely perfect. And while Richard has had you tutor him in French, he has never been this good. Jacob, you come back into the room. Jacob, what were you doing in the other room?
Have you practiced on your own lately?
I went into the library,
Uh-huh.
getting the poker,
Okay.
unwrapping the cloth that we wrapped around it,
Okay.
and coming back with that cloth.
Okay. Are you
into...
are you also bringing the poker?
No, I am leaving the poker there.
Okay. You might want to have it handy. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, you don't want to have a poker in your
I
face.
don't know where it is.
Okay.
But I may stash it right next to the door as
Yeah,
I leave.
just slide the door as you leave. Okay. Virgil, what do you do, buddy?
So the mirror is not reflecting what is happening now. The mirror is effectively a still frame?
Yes.
Okay, I'm looking at this. I'm inspecting this. I'm
Okay. Give me
investigating this.
Okay. Give me in this order, spot hidden,
Okay.
and then sense unknown.
Okay, spot hidden is 25 targets.
Dead
Just
on.
got it. And then sense unknown target 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to get this.
No,
Not
you don't.
close.
But that's okay.
Nope. But there it is.
The mirror is still showing that light. The light from the flare of the amulet has been the whole time. And the whole time you guys were working on the word puzzle, Richard was sitting at the desk, the mirror directly in front of him on the desk, facing towards where the chair would be if the chair hadn't been knocked over.
Right.
So when he sat up the chair and sat in the chair, the mirror was staring directly at him the whole time. And as you go to cover his eyes, as your hand comes down in front of his eyes, you realize that this side of your hand should be darker than the side where all the room is.
Right.
And it's not. And you turn Richard Eddingston to face you, and his eyes have become the same material as the amulet.
What?
And you now need to pass a sanity check.
Target is 51.
50-50 chance.
Pretty much.
I would say it's time to use your luck point, but
He doesn't have that many luck points. So you now must fail an intelligence check, and you cannot spend luck to fail a roll, because if you don't fail this intelligence check and your mind holds on to this image, there will be no coming back. And you passed.
goodbye, Bacon.
It is in this moment that Virgil sees the amulet, sees what it truly is, and realizes that it's a portal. It's a gateway that was locked. The word puzzle was the key. Your exposure to the rest of the world was just another tumbler in that lock. But you realize that Virgil Robinson is the bringer of confusion. That
Oh,
Virgil
great.
Robinson is the light turned to darkness. That Virgil Robinson is the hope of change turned to war and despair. That Virgil Robinson is the life turned to corruption. Virgil Robinson is now the deceiver.
Oh boy.
And Bacon is done playing. The two of you,
I'm sorry, I'm gonna mute, but I'm gonna leave the camera open because I'm
you can stay here, you can talk. Please stay at the table. You're fine. You are now just an audience participation only. You called it. I said, don't worry, buddy. You're going to be fine. You got the highest sanity of everybody 3 times what Sycorax says. You're going to be great. And you're like, nope, I'm going to go nuts.
You did the dump.
I absolutely called it.
So, David Graham is sitting on one of the chairs in the study. He's checking it that everything works. By the way, Richard Eddington has now switched from. So he started in English, went to Sumerian, went to English, went to Italian, went to English, went to French, went to English, went to German. This cycle will continue. He will go back to English, go back to Italian, go back to English, go back to German, but a specifically, obviously different style of German, and then repeat the loop. All he is doing this cycle of words and this cycle of languages, sitting in the chair, unable to move and unable to not look at the mirror. And I mean, he might have been able to not look at the mirror if it wasn't for the fact that Virgil Robinson is no longer Virgil Robinson. So what do you guys do?
I don't know. I'm going just to approach. I'm going to approach Richard. Hey there, are you holding up, buddy? Okay, if he's not reacting, I just put a smack on his.
Yeah, he's not reacting, and as you walk over to him, so you're walking up to Eddington, right? Or are you walking up to Virgil? Richard, right?
Eddington.
Okay, yeah, okay. So as you walk up to him, Virgil says, "Don't worry, he's fine. You can trust me. I'm a doctor."
You got it, buddy.
And you're like, "Yep, okay. I'll leave you to take care of him." And you go back and you just keep working on the papers. And at this point, Jacob Anderson walks in the room.
Okay, and I'll walk up to the table where they are. Cover the mirror with the cloth that I brought over from.
As you start to cover the mirror, while Virgil is looking at David, his hand just reaches out and catches it and says, "You don't want to do that. He's fine." What do you do?
So he catches the cloth.
Yes. He puts his arm in the way of you covering the mirror with the cloth.
Well, I believe it's been a long day for all of us.
It has.
I think I'll gather my notes, review them, and probably head to bed.
I think that's a good idea. I think we should all try to get some sleep. And Virgil turns back to Richard Eddington and says, "Don't you agree, Mr. Eddington?" And Mr. Eddington, still mumbling the same cycle in the same order, simply stands up and walks out of the study and heads upstairs to his room. Virgil looks at the two of you. Well, good night, gentlemen.
Good night. Sleep well.
Right, buddy.
And you all three go to rooms upstairs?
Well, I spend time gathering papers and whatnot, or does Virgil go upstairs?
Virgil will wait for you. I just want to make sure you make it safely to bed.
I think I will. Go on. I may actually have myself a nightcap as well.
All right. Virgil leaves the room. The only one left in here is Jacob. What do you do?
I gather the papers.
Mm-hmm.
I go into the study, or to the library, and I grab the poker.
Okay.
Then I go back into the... So the mirror is still there, the amulet is still there.
Yes.
This isn't right. This is kind of reminds of a quartz.
Yeah.
That's what we said it was?
Yeah.
And what time of year is it? This is
It's January 1st.
January 1st.
January
So
1st, 1848. It's a Saturday.
So it should be cold.
It is. It's cold outside.
There should be fires in the fireplace.
Yep.
Hmm.
In the main hall, there's one. Yep.
Hmm. It's not going to be enough. Well, what are the floors like? Are they
Polished marble.
wood?
Polished marble. High polished marble.
Well, this is probably a bad idea. Take the amulet, set it on the floor.
Okay.
Take the iron,
Okay.
raise it above my head,
Okay.
crack. Trying to smash it.
Give me a strength check. Seems like a reasonable endeavor. The poker comes down. The amulet shatters. The crystal separating into 1,000 pieces, almost like it was glass.
Next, assuming nothing weird goes on like that, I then turn my attention to the mirror.
Okay.
Smash it.
You swing, hitting the mirror. The glass of the mirror breaks. The silver dents in, and it flies across the study.
That'll have to be enough. I collect my papers, get my bag, head out the door.
Okay. Oh, you're just leaving the house?
Leaving.
You buy time? Okay.
Yes.
All right. The next morning... So this is going to be... This is our wrap-up. Ready? When the next morning arrives, David is confused because neither Jacob nor Virgil are in the house. David and Jeffrey are confused because neither Virgil nor Jacob are in the house. And Richard Eddington just keeps repeating the same phrase over and over again. And he will for the rest of his life. It is 1848, January. In a month, a civil war in Sicily will erupt. Sicilians, tired of the oppressive government of mainland Italy, fight for independence. 2 months later, in the fields of France, a revolution is born. People rising against an unfair aristocracy. 3 months later, in Germany, a revolution begins. A month after that, the civil war in Sicily has spread through the islands and is now a full-blown civil war on the entire Italian peninsula. And in October, the Austrian Empire begins to crumble as a mob of civilians overtake and butcher a low-level aristocrat. And in the space of a single year, most of the powers in Europe that aren't Great Britain are plunged into wars caused by hope for change. And two of you know who's responsible. And that's our story for tonight.
Very nice.
Wait
Was
a minute.
that near Little Tip?
Wait a minute. Wait. I went mentally high and became the big bad. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Oh!
From now on, when we continue this forward and we do, chill via Monster of the Week or whatever other system I decide to use, whenever the deceiver appears, he's going to look like Virgil Robinson. Because Virgil Robinson became the vessel for the deceiver.
Oh, no. That's just not right. It's just not right. I'm so here for it.
But two of our players survived. You guys have one check mark.
You made it! Oh, God, I am gobsmacked. I just expected to be in a straitjacket somewhere. But no, I'm the big bad. That's fucking awesome. Oh God, boy, I'm gonna have such a story to tell at work tomorrow.
I'm going to try to get this video up tomorrow so it's up on Halloween. So
Please.
So
hopefully,
hopefully, if you guys go, you guys want to see a dead body, or for those slightly older, hey, do you want to see something really scary?
Oh no.
And you guys will now have the story. If this continues, the story arc that will proceed from this is that David Graham and Jacob Anderson, with the blessings of Jeffrey, utilize the Eddingston estate and fortunes to create an organization designed to find, chronicle, collect information about, and whenever possible, destroy creatures of the unknown.
That's awesome.
It is known as the Eternal Order of the Argent Way. Societas Argentri Veritas Aeternum. Usually abbreviated SAVE. Welcome to Chill, one of my favorite games of all time that never had a decent f***ing mechanical system ever. I have to admit, there is a new version of the game that is out. I have not played the newest version, so I cannot speak to whether or not the 4th edition of the game is viable, playable, or anything. I can tell you every other edition was mired either with early 80s mechanics or the 90s, the early 90s era of we're real gamers. You can tell because our system uses a D% system and has 35 stats.
Yeah.
So,
Fair.
yeah, so both one was bad, the other was just clunky. But yeah, so that's the story that we'll be telling here. You guys got to be in the first chapter of it. Thank you. So what did you guys think? Chat, what do you think? I would say, who do you want to... Actually, you know what? We're going to do it anyway. We're going to use the same rule we did just last night. Chat, do you want to give a fate point to Noctis, to Bacon, or to Sycorax? And they can apply this to any of their characters in any of my other campaigns. Or arguably save it for this one, although that would be dumb.
No.
Use it somewhere else.
No.
Obviously, Bacon can't use it here. Well, I guess he could, because he'll have another character, but he's definitely not going to use it as Virgil. Because Virgil
became the beast.
Even the bad guy needs luck occasionally.
One of the others, please. For one of the others.
This guy doesn't need any luck. This guy is everything. He doesn't need any luck.
Oh, God. That's
I am
hilarious.
the bringer of confusion. The light turned into darkness. The hope of change turned to war and despair. The life turned to corruption. I am the deceiver.
Oh, no. Yeah, no. Yeah, it's...
Point to Sycorax for living ignorance is bliss through his character.
Actually, you know what?
That's
No,
how you live. That's how you make it. Noctis for the by exit.
Yep.
You know what? Also valid. He was like, you know what? I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to try, and I'm going to realize that what just walked out of this room is way above my pay grade, and I'm going to walk the fuck back to London.
Yeah.
Or at least back to the train station.
Yeah. Just get out of the house. Get out of the house.
I do have to go. Yeah, gotta wake up and all of that noise, but oh my goodness.
Happy Halloween.
That has been an absolute, you absolute brilliant bastard.
Noctis will tell you I was actually doing all of this research to make sure I had the date and the times, and I'm pretty sure that I know electricity was before that, because it was like 1809, I think, that Voltaire invented the pile. But like, I did the research, and then during all of this, we stumbled on, you know, the fact that 1848 is called the year of revolutions, and I was like. And then I found all of this, and I'm like, oh, this is it. This is the story. This is the story right here.
No. Wow.
Oh, you forgot to include a reference to the Donner Party.
Ah, that's true.
Because that was 1846. So that news would have just been reaching.
Yeah, but it would have already
Written
happened
at that
too.
point.
So
Yeah, it would have already been that, but it would have been
Yeah.
one of those things for parlor talk.
Yay.
All right.
Okay. Good night, Bacon.
I'm gonna get out of here. You
Hey, Bacon. Hey, Bacon.
Night.
Hey, Bacon.
Yeah.
Before you leave,
Yeah.
Sweet dreams.
Okay. Nope, I can't
That-
do it
it-
because I'm still
it-
on the stream. Big
hey, Bacon. Bacon. Is this a thank you? Good night.
Yeah, that's one of those.
Okay. Thank you. Good night.
Good night, guys.
Night.
All right, let me fix that image real quick. So yeah, so that's Deuce telling a horror story. I'm not saying I'm good at what I do. I'm just saying, can I cook or can't I? The best horror stories are always based in truth, and I knew just enough of the truth to be able to utilize it.
That was from Griffiths. That was from Live at the Met, wasn't it?
Donner, party of 50.
Be honest, as a French teacher, I had
Yeah.
0 qualification to solve this mystery.
Oh, yeah, I have no problem whatsoever with the way you played the character. You're just like, I'm going to do what I can do, and this is all I got. So,
That was fun though.
by the way, you guys got an official thumbs up from Ari, so that means that means as far as chill goes, you didn't do bad. All right. So, unless anybody has any more suggestions for who should get it, it looks like it's going to be Bacon by 1 vote. And we are going to close out the show. If you guys have enjoyed this one shot, I'm sure I'll continue telling this story at some point in the future. But if you are interested in seeing our other stories, we do these live on Twitch. Tuesday night we have a Gothic style D&D campaign. Thursday nights on Twitch we have a high fantasy exploration adventure D&D campaign. Saturday nights we have a Drakenheim campaign. So if you like cosmic horror, please stop in for that one. And if you are interested in seeing more of Bacon's shenanigans, check out our Spelljammer campaign on Sunday. It's called Guardians of the Astral Sea, which is a tongue-in-cheek reference to Guardians of the Galaxy, because that's pretty much how we play it. And it's a lot of fun. They killed Moby Dick a couple weeks ago. So that's going to be it for us tonight. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you very much. Be a good werewolf. Like and subscribe. If you're watching this on Twitch, then you are already awesome and you're already here while we're doing these live. So we will see you again next time. Until then, good night, and as always,
Sweet dreams.